Interested in comic book conservation, please join us on Facebook at the Comic Book Conservation Community, where we have a gathering of experts in the industry, and you can ask all of your questions that you need to know about what you need to do to conserve and preserve these beautiful works of art. Please join Dr. Paul from Liberty Hill Comics, Phantom Phil from Phantom Restorations, and myself, Captain Larry from Flying Elk Comics, every Sunday night on YouTube at 8:35 p.m. Eastern. We talk about everything comic conservation and what's happening in the market. So please come join us. You can find us at Liberty Hill Comics on YouTube and Flying Elk Comics on YouTube. Okay, so the glues have now been removed, exposed a lot of areas. I did lose a little bit of a section in here. That was just unavoidable, unfortunately. So we've got a tear here through, again, about 25% of the bottom of the wrap. Let's take a closer look at everything now. And just for those that are curious, the process when I last left off and removed was very tedious. I probably spent at least 3 hours trying to remove all the glue from this particular wrap. So let's just do a quick scan through here. You can see here this middle section. This is actually right where the staple penetrates here. That's right here in the middle of the book. This is a staple. This is the staple section right through here. So again, it's stained, but the glue is gone. So the next step here is we need to fill in, and don't let this is just a light though. I've got studio lights hitting this, so it's all good. So the next step through here is we need to uh, make up our pulp for the color match best we can. It's not going to be perfect, but see what we can come up with. Then we're going to lay it down here on the vacuum table. We're going to get everything wet, and we'll fill in all the voids on this wrap. Then after that, we need to concentrate on the cover halves. Let's take a look at these real quick. These cleaned up really well. Let me turn these over here so we'll take a look. Now, I can't do anything about this is just lost paper. So we are going to leaf cast this as well because it does have a lot of sections that are missing. So I'll see if I can lighten it on the inside a little bit, but I can't go too crazy with it. I don't want to over clean the book. We'll lose that nice creamy tan look to it. But I do want to fill this in. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. So I think the next step is actually working on the vacuum table. We'll go ahead and fill this in, and then once that's done, we'll trim everything up and we'll come back. Okay, so we've got our first wrap here. It's nice and smooth. The texture is nice. We still have the staining from the glue. There's not much we can really do about that unless I really wanted to cut it out. So I filled it in with new pulp, and as you can see here, it's optically not pleasant, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for structure. And given there was a lot of damage to it, they could I have excised it out? Yes, but I think the method we did was perfectly fine. So as you can see, there's that staining from the glue is in the paper itself. There's really not any way to get that out without really doing some carving on the book, which is not what I wanted to do. Wanted to retain as much of the original paper as I could, yet still making it structurally sound. So you can see there's still discoloration, but the structure of the book or the paper is perfect. There's no real texture or rough surface. It's smooth. The thickness is exactly the way it should be. So this page is really ready. So we'll go ahead and start working on the cover halves next, and we'll set this aside for the time being. Okay, so let's take a look at our cover wrap here. The two halves have been pressed flat, and lining everything up. What I'm looking for right now is how much actual material is missing from the spine. Um, because of the amount of glue that was used, there was significant paper loss. And also, if you look on the inside here, you see these white spots. That's actually the glue is gone. That is the raw paper that was underneath because we did lose some paper, yeah, which is unfortunate. But we're going to do our best. We're going to go ahead and try to fill this in as best we can with leaf cast. So you can see the break here. It's a nice clean break, so it'll fill in nicely. What I'm going to use for a furnish or pulp is going to have a really fine texture to it, very fine fibers, because that gets into the cracks and it bonds better to the paper as well. And then in these large areas where the staple hole used to be, right there, that's completely blown out and gone. So that has to be filled in. It has to be a little bit thick, especially since it's a single staple issue and we want everything to have good strength. And down here at the bottom, that's the it matches up with the split for the first wrap. So our next step is to get the wrap wet once more. So I moved it over to our tray. It's sitting on a piece of Hollytex, and we'll go ahead and line this up. We'll go ahead and what I'm going to do is put some calcium hydroxide on, just our normal solution that we use all the time on a regular basis. That's the 25% version. So we'll get this wet. It's going to leave an alkaline reserve inside. So the reason for getting it wet, it makes the bond of the varnish or pulp that much stronger. So we're going to let it soak in, let the edges get a little bit furled, as I like to call it. Again, this has been pressed flat. Then we'll go ahead and get everything moved over to the vacuum table and fill it in. So right now, all I'm doing is just kind of smoothing things out, looking at the alignment. We're going to realign everything once we get it over there, but all in all, it looks pretty good. So let's flip it, make sure the backside is wet. Having this thing thoroughly wet all the way through is really important. Well, it'll go through the drying process, and also this is probably like an additional extra cleaning process here. I'll pour the calcium hydroxide off, and then we'll go ahead and leave it wet and move it over to the vacuum table and do our process. Okay, so the blotters I have right here, There's two nice clean blotters. These do get reused quite a bit. Um, they are wonderful for soaking up moisture. So what we're going to do is we're going to carefully lay this down right on top of this. And I'm going to grab an edge on the bottom piece of Holly text. And we're just going to pin it down. We're going to flip it over. We're going to take another one right over the top. And now we have our sandwich, which is ready to be compressed. Okay, so what we're looking at now is the two halves of the cover. They've been leaf casted back together. Everything's in one nice smooth piece. This is all new pulp in here. There's no tape or anything like that. From the outside, it didn't look pretty on the inside, I'll be honest, but that's not what we're going for. We're going for structure and strength. So everything's back. It's smooth. There's no sound. There's texture is just right. And on the front cover, everything looks great. I mean, considering everything the book's been through, it's been glued to the that first wrap, and everything's back nice. I'm really pleased with the way everything came out. Take a look at this wrap that was glued to. I mean, this again is that first wrap. So now we've separated everything. We've removed all the glue. So this will go back together, transition back together nicely. We'll go ahead and clean up the rest of the book. We'll insert the staple and go from there. So we're almost, I wouldn't say we're almost ready. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of the wraps off camera. And then when we come back, probably in the next video, we'll show the assembly. Okay, well, the book is, it's done in the sense that we've de-acidified everything. All the pages and colors look fantastic. Now, what we need to do is check. We're going to have to do a lot of repairs. Like, here's a center wrap. Let's take a look at this one. And what I like to have handy is a light table, which is what you're looking at right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the center wrap. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over here, and I'm going to turn this on. And what we're looking for is some deep cracks. Now, what you can see here, try to find something to point with, is, let me move this in here a little closer. So what we have here, this is you remember this is a single staple issue. This is the blown out part right here. So we do all of our paper repairs from the back side. So we want to keep the visibility of the repair to an absolute minimum. A good professional repair is we're just going to make a small piece to go right around here. So keep the rest of it from tearing away. It'll also give something for the staple to grab a hold of. So being it's a single staple book, it's going to be a little bit more delicate. So let's come down here and let's look over here on the sides. And as you can see here, the splits in the paper are very visible. Here, down here, we got a very sizable tear right here. So what we're going to do here in this case, remember when we do these repairs, part of conservation is we're not looking for that good grade. We're trying to preserve this book. But don't get me wrong, good grade is what we want. So we're going to go ahead and seal this up so it doesn't tear any further. And we'll just use some Japanese paper and wheat paste and all the repairs. Pretty much every one of these wraps is going to be in this condition. So let's take a look at our other wraps. Let's just pick one in here. I know there's a couple of them that were in pretty sorry shape. Most of them are blown out. Let's take a look at this one here. That's a lot of pressure on a single staple. That's where most of the damage that we see is. In this particular case, you can see this little mark down here. Again, the staple is torn away here. But what we're also looking for is where the back has been broken. When I say that, and when I say the back, the spine of the book, because a lot of times you'll get some torsional twists, and when that does, you'll get horizontal cracks through here. And wherever we come across them, we need to repair that. So that's where we're at right now. I'm going to go ahead and go through each one of these wraps one by one. I'm going to separate the wraps out that need to have the paper repair, and then we'll take care of those and put everything back together. But we're getting pretty close to finishing the book. Now for the tear seals, we're going to use Japanese paper and wheat paste. Once the paper is wet, we just lay it down on top, and just remember, brush the feathery edges into the paper. So you want to brush away from the center section. Okay, so I've got that wrap out of the dryer. So what we're going to do is take the Hollytex off. We'll start with the easy side first. And what we'll do is we're just going to take our spatula, run it underneath like a saw, very carefully. Separate the pieces that got stuck in here. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. All right, let's flip this over. Now this is the one we just be a little bit more patient. This is the side we were working on. So I'm just going to gently, again, saw this. Just run your spatula underneath. Keep some pressure down so we don't tear anything. Okay, that should do it. All right, so let's take a look at this. And that's just me. That's just a little bit of dampness there. That'll dry out. But as you see here, this is the side we were working on. And it's virtually invisible. Once we trim off the edges, you won't see a thing. Let's look at it from the other side. So we're going to use this side as a trim point. We'll just cut these off and take an up close look at everything. Okay, it's as simple as that. Oh, there's where my moisture came from. A little bit of something left over on the worksheet. Okay, so this is done. Now, let's take an up close look. So right here, we've gone ahead and bridged this tear, and it's sealed. Come down here, and again, we're looking at the vertical tear seal here. This is just dampness. I just got a few drops of water in there, so that'll dry out. So, looking at this, everything is a-okay, really. I mean, we've got what was once a delicate wrap. It was torn here. That's tear has been sealed, And that's basically how we do a tear seal using Japanese paper and wheat paste. Okay, we're back, and we have we're basically at the reassembly time. So all of the wraps have all been cleaned, all the repairs have been done, and we're at the point of putting the staple back in. It's just a single staple. Remember, we had to rebuild this whole section through here. So I've got a couple of pins in there for keeping everything in position. Now, we have to be very careful because, like I said, this is a single staple assembly. So we're going to go ahead and revisit our staple here that we saved from the very beginning. And pull this up. Okay, so let's get our staple out. And I did take the liberty of cleaning the staple up. Let me hold this up here for the camera. You can see it's a little bit more shiny. I removed the rust from the original. So still got its nice patina. And remember, we got this lower leg, which is the longer of the two. So this will be at the bottom. So, and as many of you have seen me do before, I have a particular way I like to disassemble a book and reassemble a book. So I'm going to lift this up gently. I'm going to put my hand under here. I've got the pins in here. We do this one at a time. So what I'm going to do is take this staple. Remember, I want to show this. We have the ends here. They're not at a 90-degree angle. They are a little bit narrow, so I'm going to just gently pull this out. I'm going to keep that backbone. We don't want to do any damage to the backbone here. So we splay these legs out fully at 90 degrees. You're going to get a bend there and another bend right there. And if we do that, that's going to basically break this straight line in the back. Okay, so that said, I'll set that down right there. And we'll pick this up. Again, we're going to be very gentle with this. Okay, this is all new paper in here, but we also don't want to blow out everything we just worked for and made. So I'm going to take out this first staple here. This is the top staple. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do the bottom staple first, or bottom leg first. Pull that out. We just keep that one staple in there for alignment. I'm going to take this leg and I'm going at a 90-degree angle here. So I'm going to push that through to where I feel it on the other side, which I do. I'm going to turn this like that, and then we have our 90-degree bend right here. Show this in the camera as best I can. Now we're going to pull this pin out, and we're going to be very careful with this. We're going to fold this over gently. Let's try to do this so you can see it in the camera. And I just want to find that one hole where the staple leg should go through. And if it doesn't line up just right, which I'm going to go ahead and put the pin back in. So we want to make sure we keep this alignment. Okay. And we don't want to make a new hole. Okay, so I can feel everything. I can feel the tip of the pin on the other side. I don't want to stab myself. So I'm going to set this down for a second. And because I'm 60 years old, I need a little bit of help. So let me put my glasses on here. All right, so this will make it much easier. All right, so I'll take this out. Again, we're going to take this staple. We're going to rotate it very carefully into the hole. Now we do it in this method because we don't want to disturb any paper and blow out anything or make any new holes. Now it's a little bit tight. I don't want to force it. I can feel it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take and hold this just 1 second, and I'm going to just give it a little bit of a tweak. There we go. Don't get in a rush, people. This is like probably the most nerve-wracking part about doing the conservation work is doing the staple work. You get in a rush, you're going to pay a price. And I say that from experience. See, I've already lost some of the alignment here. So let me reset this one more time. There we go. Okay, this one just doesn't want to go. So rather than force things, we're going to go ahead and do it another way. Let's just start with this top leg. And we'll run it all the way through. There we go. Now we'll try with the bottom leg. Let me get this in here. We'll rotate it. Like I said, we don't want to force anything. We want to maintain our alignment. Yep, this one is causing trouble too. So let's go and run our pin back through here, realign everything. I think we're getting there. So what I'm doing is feeling for the tip of that staple leg. Just can't seem to get it to lock in. There we go. Now we finally have it. So once we get it through here, now I'm going to move this off of the pin board into a flat surface. Now we don't want to force these legs through here, because it's where you end up blowing things out. Okay, so both those legs are in. So let's take a look at this. Now, you notice really right here, everything's nice and flat. What we don't want to do is pull this in. Because when we pull this staple in, it basically sucks it in, and we have like an indented staple. So what I like to do is I keep a thin blade. And in this particular case, let me take it off the scalpel. The thickness of this scalpel blade is perfect. So I slip it underneath here. And what when I tighten the staple down, that keeps it from blowing out that paper. It's just like a little bit of extra protection on it. So what I'm going to do is just put that right there. But flip this over on its back. There we go. And I'm not going to go, like I said, I'm not going to force a lot in here. I'm just going to fold these over. Like that. Now, they're not completely pressed in. Again, I want to maintain a little bit of flexibility in here. So now we're going to slide this out. And there we have it. The staple is right in there. It's not recessed at all. Now what we're going to do next is give this a little bit of humidity, and then we'll go ahead and close everything up and press it flat. Okay, let's take a look at this. I mean, we started with a 2.5 off-white. Restoration includes cover reattached with glue. Now, we did a significant amount of work, as we've seen from earlier in the videos. The book is back together now. We've given it a new spine. The staple's been reinserted. Let's take a look on the inside. Everything looks really good. The colors really pop. There's no spine roll to it whatsoever. I'm really happy with the way things look in this book. So still got a lot of gloss here on the back. And the front, it's still got its gloss too. It's got some sheen to it. I'm not sure what kind of grade this is going to come back at. It may be 2.5, but I think pretty sure it'll be a conserve. So anyway, this is our end result. So I'm quite pleased with it.
If you liked today's video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. That way you can get a notification when I have a new video coming out or a follow-up to this one.